I'm Greg Howe, and you're watching for GuitarPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for GuitarPlayersOnly.com. Coming to you on location from Westland, Michigan, outside the famous Token Lounge with our old friend Greg Howe. Hey Greg, how you doing?
Great to be here.
It's good to see you. We did a phone interview on For Guitar Players Only a while ago, and it's great to be here in person. I could be with you. I can touch you. I can get to know you, get close to you.
Cool.
We got the whole story. It was a great story about your upbringing, and you talked about the stuff you did with your brother.
Yep.
And it sounded like you had really cool parents who were bringing in all these foster kids and that whole experience.
Yeah, I don't know that it was intentionally trying to be cool, but it certainly worked out in my favor, I think, when it came to having early guitar influences.
Well, cool is maybe not the appropriate word, but inspiring
Sure,
to help people who need help and get them on the right direction. Yep. And then the whole story about Mike Varney and Shrapnel and how that interview was up there. For GuitarPlayersOnly.com, put in Greg Howe and it'll pop right up. H-O-W-E. You related to Steve Howe by any chance?
Maybe somewhere way back, but not that I know of.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do a follow-up interview is because you've got some big-time far-out news, and you've got a new record which I am privileged to have been able to listen to with my preview copy. It is called Wheelhouse. Let's tell the people about Wheelhouse. What were you thinking? What was the purpose, the message that you were trying to get out, or anything that you want to share about the new record? Tell us about Wheelhouse.
Sure. It was a record that I a lot of times when I've recorded in the past, particularly in the 90s, all those records like, Five and Parallax and Uncertain Terms, I have a tendency to get a little crazy in the studio, meaning that, I tweak and I'll listen to something and come back the next day and fix it and, punch in a lot of stuff and try to make things ideal. And often I think it ends up being not a super... maybe not a super accurate representation of what I really sound like when I'm just improvising over something. And this time I really wanted it to be that way. Just play the way I play. I have a lot of webcam students, and when we get into improvisation, they watch me play and they'll listen to me. And so sometimes they'll say, I like what you're doing. It seems a little bit different than, not different, but just maybe less perfect than some of those.
More natural,
right? A little more organic. So I really wanted it to be that way.
Well, we nobody likes to label music because, would you say some of it sounds fusiony to me? Some of it I was actually tapping my foot. Sounds swingy to me.
Yeah.
And how would you describe the genre, if you would dare to do so?
I don't know that I could, because my influences come from virtually every genre there is. So I've never really categorized myself. I'm always surprised when I was surprised the first time I saw my name show up under fusion, because when I think of fusion, I think of, Mahavishnu and stuff like that. So I was like, really? Fusion? That's what, okay. Well, that I'm not going to argue with it, but I don't ever write music with the intention of fitting into a category genre-wise. Here's a song. It's a song I like. Let me record it and let people decide how they want to place it categorically.
It's funny that has come up, because I interviewed Brian Beller on ForBassPlayersOnly.com. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, it was outside the Token Lounge, pretty much on almost this very spot. And he said he got such a kick out of something the Aristocrats did that ended up on the jazz charts, and that was really, he really got a kick out of that. Right. But getting back to you and guitar and Wheelhouse, at the 2017 Winter NAMM show, I interviewed a fella by the name of Richie Kotzen. Maybe you've heard of him.
I've heard of Richie.
Yes. Richie is on one cut on your record. Tell us about that. He's singing.
It's a song that my brother and I wrote years ago, and every time we've played it live, back in the How To days, particularly when we were playing live a lot.
How to H-O-W, you mean? Or H-O?
Roman numeral 2, right. That was our rock band, early 90s, sort of the late 80s genre. And everybody loved the song. Everyone always thought, in fact, no one thought we wrote it. Everyone was like, who wrote that? And we were like, we did. Really? Yeah. So we haven't had an opportunity to, How To kind of ended around 92. And I haven't really, other than Marigold, I haven't been successfully able to get another vocal project going. So I haven't had an opportunity to record it. And this time I just thought, Richie's got a great voice. He's got the ideal voice for this kind of song. My brother's scenario right now doesn't lend itself to him being able to record it. So I asked Richie, I said, do you want to sing this? And he said, yeah, that'd be great. And he did an amazing job, I thought.
It sounds good. It's the last tune on the album, right?
On the record, yeah.
And the title of that song again?
Shady Lane.
Shady Lane. That's what I thought. Okay. Well, great. Well, I highly recommend it. It's coming out September 1st, officially 2017.
Although it is available now to people who attend the shows during the North American tour. So I always make a joke when it's not very funny, but I always say the record's not available to anyone except you guys. That's right. So. Yeah, if you come to the show, you can have the record signed and all that stuff.
If you like Greg Howe and you like great guitar playing, you will love Wheelhouse. Cool. I can tell you firsthand. Tell me a little bit about your equipment.
It's really basic. It's really stripped down. So right now I'm using a prototype amp that I'm working with DV Mark on. I love the amp. It's just blowing my mind. It's really the perfect amplifier, in my opinion. It's a creamy tone. The response is just right. It's a no frills amp, not a high gain amp at all. So if you're a sort of a shred guy, you would probably want to have a pedal with it, but it takes pedals really, really well. One channel, it's not stereo. It's really basic. No effects loop, no nothing. So it's very stripped down. The cabinet is a very light 412 cabinet by DV Mark. They're using what they call the neoclassic speakers that are really light and sound amazing. The guitar is a Kiesel, which is really what Carvin used to be, the guitar division of Carvin. And it's just, again, it's real simple guitar. As I get older, I find I keep going backwards in terms of what I want. Like, really what I'm looking for is just a basic, essentially like a Stratocaster, 5-way switch, I even really love the 22 fret version that I have. So everything's no frills. I mean, it's just some pedals, those, the amp and cabinet, and
D'Addario strings.
D'Addario strings.
Why you've been playing D'Addario for a while now? Why do you like D'Addario?
I just love them. They just work. I've never had a problem with them, and at this point, I'm so used to them that almost anything else feels a little funny to me. So, yeah. That's I've just been a big fan of theirs ever since I've started playing, really, back in the early or mid 70s. So,
how about the future? I think you mentioned Simon Phillips' name.
Yes, I joined a band called Protocol, which is Simon Phillips' band that used to feature Andy Timmons and Steve Weingart and Ernest Tibbs on bass. Amazing band.
I've interviewed Andy and Ernest on the respective bass/guitar sites.
I'm generally not a big fan of joining prog bands because a lot of times, because I've been asked a few times, and I noticed that I find myself sort of doing math on stage and not really getting into the music. So a lot of times, although it's very impressive, I don't find it fulfilling in terms of just a real sincere musical outlet for me. So when he asked me to join, I was a little reluctant. And when he sent me the material, I was like, wow, so this is really thoughtful stuff. It's very emotional. It's really, it's not just, let's be complicated for the sake of it. It tells a story. It's really fun music to play. I definitely have to sit up straight to do it. It's not easy, and a lot of it is complex, but it all has a purpose. It all fits. And so when he asked and I listened, I thought, yeah, this would be great. So Andy, I guess, left. And
Andy's my buddy from Miami. We went to University of Miami together. I interviewed him at the NAMM show too.
Andy's a great friend, and he's an amazing player, one of my favorite players. So
who else is in the band now?
Now it is what's the guy's name?
Who's the bass player?
It's still Ernest.
Okay.
Right, and then I think Dennis Ham recorded a lot of the keyboards, but now it's what's his name? Otmar Ruiz.
Oh, Otmar Ruiz, keyboard player.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, yeah. There were some last minute changes, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're getting ready to go out middle to end of October, all the way through December.
What part of the country?
Mainly in Europe, but I know that towards December we're doing some dates in the U.S. We're going to be at the Iridium in New York, and I think he's he's still developing some other dates. I think he's planning on South America and Asia in 2018, shortly after the holidays. So it's still coming in. So, but it's going to be a lot of dates.
You're going to be busy.
Going to be busy, yeah. But that's a really fun band. The music really is. It's really thoughtful, and you can tell he puts his passion into it, and it's actually fun to play it.
Yeah, it sounds like a great band. Watch for that.
Yeah.
Anything else that you've always wanted to do, just haven't gotten around to yet, or haven't been able to accomplish yet?
I'd like to go to Australia one day. I haven't been there yet.
Okay.
I've been everywhere except there for some reason. What else? I'd love to play with Sting and Stevie Wonder.
Well, you're in Detroit. Maybe you can swing by his house on your way home.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll just kind of, knock on the door and
There you go.
say what's up.
I don't remember if I asked you this last time or not, Greg, but what would you be if you weren't a guitar player? Something outside of music.
Outside of music, I honestly, I think I might be a lawyer because I tend to think that way. Very logical, very, I like to back engineer a situation and understand what exactly, I tend to be very over analytical and logical, and
With all the good and all the bad that comes with those. Right?
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
right. So I think I'd be good at that, and I kind of like it when I like movies about, courtroom movies and seeing how the thought process goes.
You can't handle the truth.
Right. That's actually one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that. I can't. It's hard to imagine not being in music. So it's almost an impossible question to answer.
You know what? Stay in music. I'm glad things worked out the way they did. Anything else you want to do, I'm sure you'll be great at that too. Well, congratulations on the new record and all the other stuff that's coming up with your band and with Simon and with who knows what else you're gonna. I'm sure it's going to be great. Whatever else you come up with, and
Well, that'll be the goal, to be as cool as possible. But that's what we shoot for.
yeah. Well, I can see by the way you have your hat and everything else, you're a Mr. Cool.
Ah.
On location
I'm
with
actually
Mr.
not.
Cool, Greg Howe.
I'm really probably one of the nerdiest people that you've ever known, but I'm glad it comes across that way.
Well, that's just the analytical side of you. with Greg Howe on location outside the Token Lounge, Westland, Michigan. I'm John Liebman. You're watching ForGuitarPlayersOnly.com.
I'm